everyone. Thanks very much for having me for this Science Tales and Trails talk. I'm really happy to be here. And today I'd love to talk with you about the Northern Georgia urban water cycle and different ways that you and your family members and your colleagues can get involved with helping to protect our water resources here in Northern Georgia. The Water Tower is a new nonprofit. We are a 501c3 and a 501c4 located in Buford, Georgia. We are right in the wedge in between I-85 and I-985, near the Mall of Georgia and also near the Environmental and Heritage Center there. Our nonprofit was born out of Gwinnett County Department of Water Resources. They wanted to create an innovation hub where folks can come and test new technologies to help water and wastewater treatment. Researchers can work together to come up with new ideas. We can train folks to start working in the water industry and bring the community in and show them what we're doing, why water is important, which is why also I wanted to come here today to talk to you about this. Our mission at the Water Tower is to be a thriving ecosystem of water innovation, fueled by imagination, informed by research, and powered by pioneers. And that's really what creates our ecosystem of innovation, like that we like to call it. So we integrate our 4 key pillars that we like to call them, and they are applied research, technology innovation, workforce development, and public engagement. And the ultimate vision is for these 4 pillars to work together, for us to collaborate with different organizations across the water industry and other industries as well, to create a better water future for especially those small to medium utilities, water, wastewater, and utilities, so we can help them become more progressive and treat their water more effectively for their communities. So how does water get clean enough for you to drink? How does it get from your faucet or hose, and where does it go when it goes down the drain or flushed? Something that's not always taught in schools. So today, I'm here to talk about those in-between steps and the urban water cycle, specifically here in Northern Georgia, and the opportunities to get involved in the water industry. If you've visited Lake Lanier, if you're in the area, you might have gone there to boat or to swim or fish. When you're there, it seems pretty big. You can't really see the other side of it. There's lots of different inlets and areas. It seems like a pretty large resource. But when you think about all of the different competing priorities that the water in the lake is used for, it starts to feel a lot smaller. There are many different uses for Lake Lanier's water, which creates competition. The lake is used for everything from power generation, of course, drinking water, navigation, recreation, like I mentioned. The ecology of the lake is studied in order to protect and maintain the lake, and also used for fisheries and agriculture. So with all these uses, each one is very important, which makes Lake Lanier a very valuable part of our community here in North Georgia and why we have to protect it. What's interesting to think about is that Lake Lanier has only 5% of the drainage basin, but has 65% of the reservoir storage in the ACF. So not only is the lake important for Northern Georgia and our area up here, but it's also extremely important, as you see on the map there, for other states, including Florida and Alabama, and of course, Southern Georgia as well. Here in Gwinnett County, we get 100% of our drinking water from the lake, and that's not unique just to Gwinnett. Many communities surrounding the lake rely on it for their source water for their citizens. So that creates another issue and another use. If we're all using the lake for drinking water, how do we ensure that there is water there for us to use for generations to come? In addition to using water from Lake Lanier for drinking, communities surrounding the lake also use it for discharge of their treated wastewater effluent. So this is a practice known as potable reuse through reservoir augmentation, or indirect potable reuse. You might have heard one of those terms. Basically, it's a way of putting the water that we use back into the environment to maintain the environment, and also make sure that there's water there for us to pull from in the future. We help sustain the lake But this also requires very careful planning, monitoring, and protection of the Lake Lanier watershed, which is the next step when we talk about the urban water cycle. So this brings us to the urban water cycle. If you think about the water cycle you learned about in school, the quote unquote natural water cycle that I mentioned before, the urban water cycle can be thought of as the man-made portion of that cycle. It brings clean drinking water to homes, businesses, farms, and other people around the lake. It also removes the impurities from the water and helps those businesses have a place to put their drink or their used wastewater. I'm sorry. Also redirects stormwater away from homes and businesses to help prevent flooding. So let's start at the beginning, thinking about the urban water cycle, using an example here from Gwinnett County. So you'll see water is in Lake Lanier. It's drawn out of the lake and is pumped to a drinking water treatment plant. And in this case, it's the Shoal Creek filter plant. Here in Gwinnett County, we have 2 drinking water plants, the Shoal Creek filter plant and also the Lanier filter plant, both which serve similar purposes. At Shoal Creek filter plant, the water from the lake moves through many steps to clean the water to make it ready for you to drink. And those steps include housing it in an equalization tank, ozone treatment, flocculation, and filtration. So each of those steps takes out impurities in the water, lets the clean water flow through to the next step. And by the end of the process treatment train, you have your finished water ready to drink and to be distributed to homes and businesses. So once the water has completed drinking water treatment, it's time to pump it to the customers. Customers, those homes, businesses, farms, water parks, whatever you can think of, anyone who can use it, who uses water from the water utility is considered a customer. And here in Gwinnett County, we have 3,800 miles of distribution system here. So that those thousands of miles of pipe help move the water from the drinking water treatment plant to the customers who use it for drinking, cooking, cleaning, irrigating their gardens, irrigating their fields, many other uses. After the water is used by customers, it re-enters the system by going down the drain, through toilet flushing, and through runoff into the stormwater drain system on our streets. In the example here, the water from the customers is then carried by the about 3,000 miles of collection system piping here in Gwinnett to the Ephraim Hill Water Resources Center. Depending on where you might live in Gwinnett County, it could also go to one of the 2 other water reclamation facilities, either Yellow River or Crooked Creek. But for our purposes here, I'm going to focus on Ephraim Hill. Ephraim Hill Water Resources Center is an award-winning advanced water treatment facility located in Buford, right down the road from where our water tower campus is being built. It can treat up to 60 million gallons of water per day, which is pretty impressive. It's known around the world and definitely as a very, very forward-thinking utility here in the Eastern Seaboard for its advanced processes. And the water it cleans and returns to the environment is some of the highest quality effluent that is returned to the environment in the United States. It's a very impressive plant and a very interesting model to take a look at. They do tours of Ephraim Hill, and I'll mention that a little bit later if you're interested in coming and taking a visit. The treatment processes at the Ephraim Hill Water Resources Center, I won't go through each one, but here is a basic treatment process diagram of what happens to the water from when it enters. It goes through some clarifiers, it goes through some treatment with chemicals and biology. And from there, it can either be returned to Lake Lanier or moves forward for additional processing. So these processes shown on the process treatment diagram remove those pollutants so well that the water that returns to nature in many ways is cleaner than when it first was drawn into the supply, which is pretty impressive. There's 2 other parts of the treatment process shown here. You can see the nutrient recovery and energy recovery. These are additional treatment that help make Effloin Hill such an innovative, forward-thinking community asset and actually help bring in revenue to the county by producing products that can be sold, which is pretty impressive. The high quality water from Effloin Hill is then returned to Lake Lanier, where it is stored until it needs to be used again in the future. So that completes our urban water cycle here in Northern Georgia. Just a case study here in Gwinnett County, but this is often the case in many different places. You can find where your water is treated for drinking water and what wastewater treatment plant your effluent goes to. So you can find your own urban water cycle that directly connects to your home pretty easily. I wanted to quickly mention that one of our initiatives at the Water Tower that is focused on protecting and improving the Lake Lanier watershed is this Lake Lanier Watershed 5-year research plan. Over the past year or so, we worked with stakeholders and technical experts to develop a roadmap of 32 projects covering topics pertinent to the protection of Lake Lanier, such as non-point sources, water quality and monitoring, nutrients, stormwater, land use, and other topics, all with the goal of protecting the lake. If you're interested in reading about the research plan, looking into the projects that were developed, it's available on our website there at the bottom, and I can send you that link as well. So now that we've reviewed the urban water cycle, we've seen just how important wastewater and water treatment is to our everyday lives. Not only does effective treatment protect public health and the environment, but the water industry also provides a wide array of jobs in everything from business, research, engineering, maintenance, even accounting, and everything in between. And at the Water Tower, we're really focused on reimagining the future of the water industry through collaboration of different types of organizations, industries, and people, all working together towards a common goal. Now I would like to do just a really quick quiz, if you'll indulge me. All you need is a pen and paper, and the goal is to introduce you to different types of careers in the water industry based on your personality, and interests. We'll go through a quick 7 questions, listen to each statement, and choose the option that best describes you or interests you. Write down your response if it's A, B, or C. And at the end, we'll tally your answers to determine which letter you chose the most, which is then linked towards a career. So the first question is, would you describe yourself as A, focused on the big picture, B, observant of things around you, C, detail-oriented? I'll wait a few seconds here. Our second question, would you describe yourself as A, compassionate, B, interested in new ideas, or C, logical? Question number 3, would you describe yourself as A, organized and structured, B, able to change and adapt, or C, focused on implementing a plan? And there may be more than one that applies to you. Just choose the one that most applies right now. And this is all in good fun and just to introduce you to some new careers in the water industry. Question 4, would you describe yourself as A, quick to take action, B, typically you need more information to make a decision, or C, wanting to formalize decisions? Question 5, would you describe yourself as A, sociable and a people person, B, you enjoy making things, or C, able to troubleshoot when something goes wrong? Two more here. Question 6, would you describe yourself as A, you like helping people, B, questioning how and why, or C, enjoy hands-on work? And our last question here, Would you describe yourself as A, imaginative, B, prefer to do things in a structured way, or C, focused on the present? Now I wanted to give everyone a few seconds here to tally up your answers. You're really just looking to see if you have mostly A answers, mostly B answers, or mostly C answers. And I'll go through what each category correlates to as part of the quiz in just a second here. So if you had mostly A answers, you might be interested in a career in the water industry that is focused on the big picture strategic thinking. Some examples of these jobs are working as a utility manager or a director, working in water communications, such as through Science for Georgia, or business development and really building relationships between your utility and other organizations, or perhaps a water business and clients. If you answered mostly Bs, you might be interested in a water industry career where you can solve problems by exploring the how and the why behind how things work. Some examples of these include a job in water technology, maybe some R&D, researching, and engineering, perhaps civil engineering or environmental engineering to solve problems. And if you answered mostly Cs, you might be interested in a water career where you can use logic to implement and execute plans. Examples of some of these careers could include a water or wastewater operator, laboratory analyst, or plant superintendent. So this was in no way intended to be a definitive quiz, just a fun way to spark some discussion and interest into just how many water careers there are out there and how different personality traits can be applied to whatever job in the water industry you pursue. At the Water Tower, we like to emphasize that no matter where you are on your interests, what your interest or education level is, there's a place for you in the water industry, whether you have a high school diploma or a GED, all the way up to a PhD and postdoc and beyond. And a way that we help folks decide on a career in the water industry is we have many programs to help build careers, including internships, work study programs, apprenticeships, co-ops, and other opportunities. We also offer operator and maintenance classes and training through our Water Warriors program. So that's an interesting program for high school students. Usually your senior year, you can complete the work study program, do all of your initial classroom hands-on training work, and when you're ready to graduate from high school, you'll have enough experience to sit for your exam to become a water wastewater operator. So it's pretty neat. It's a nice way to queue up a career right out of high school. I wanted to show you some other opportunities to learn about water and water careers that we offer as well. We have a YouTube page, which is linked to our website. And on that YouTube page, there are 19 videos that cover topics such as a more in-depth look at water and wastewater treatment that we talked about with the urban water cycle, PFAS, stormwater management, anything that you can think of related to water we tried to touch on, as well as some discussions with real water experts about how they decided on their water career and what brought them to that. We also have tours of the F. Wayne Hill Water Resources Center that we offer. We're hoping that COVID restrictions are loosening up a little bit with everyone getting vaccinated. We can start going on tours again. We offer a virtual water-related book club about every other month, where we talk with the author about their book, ask them questions. We also offer networking opportunities for people in the Metro Atlanta area. So lots of opportunities to get involved. If you check out our website community page, you can see how to get involved in those. And last but not least, if you are a teacher, if you have kids in school and high school age kids, if you are involved in any sort of club that is focused on environment or water, I wanted to bring this event to your attention, the Rising Tides Water Summit. This will be a one-day educational summit for high school students where they will participate in STEAM activities. So not only those STEM-related activities, we're also adding the art side into there as well. And the goal of the summit is to garner interest in environmental and water-related careers. The kids will participate in different activities that cover science, engineering. We'll have some marketing in there, creative writing contest, of course, math, some graphic design, some photography, really whatever your interests and strengths are, showing kids how to get involved in the water industry and how to become a better water steward. So that will be taking place on our campus Earth Day next year. So if you're interested or want to be involved, please reach out to me. I'd love to speak with you about that. As we discussed at the very beginning of this talk here, water is a vital resource and a component of our lives that we need and we use every single day. And it's really up to all of us to work together to protect it. I'd like to end the presentation here with this question and ask that you consider it as you go through your weekend and your week next week. How will you impact the future of clean water? And that is all I have. Thanks very much for tuning in. I appreciate it. I appreciate your patience with the technical difficulties. And of course, thank you to Science for Georgia for having us. If you have any questions or would like to learn more, please feel free to contact me. My email's on the screen there, as well as my Twitter handle. I did want to mention that our campus is opening early next year. So right now we're under construction, hoping to get it finished by the end of the year in 2021 and have our grand opening in early 2022. So we hope you'll come visit us and get involved. Thank you.